What have you seen from Baba Miller and specifically his rebounding?
Well, he had 21 rebounds his last game. Like that, most good rebounders like that have great instincts. They have a knack for being where the ball is. Guys that aren't good rebounders are the exact opposite. They're never where the ball is. So I think it speaks to this kid's motor and his willingness to do a job that is critical to winning. Um, Maybe he is not the sexiest or gets enough attention, but certainly gets my attention and my respect.
Hey, Chris, we'll go to Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, please go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Kelvin.
Good morning, Joseph.
Kelvin, haven't seen them last year with Jizzle James, and then part of this year without him. But now that he's back, can you see the difference that he brings to this particular team this year? Now that he's back and he's working his way back into the lineup.
He's always been a confident young man, and I think there's a program wide respect for him. Um, he has that swagger that draws people to him, and I think that radiates with his team. Um, that's why they're not the same team that they were before. Like all of us in November, we're all searching for something, trying to see if we can get something to Velcro stick. Some of it does, some of it doesn't. Um, but now with James and Thomas and Harris, Miller, Chum, um, the athleticism, the length, the creativity, scoring, defense, pressure. I think West finally has a team he feels comfortable with.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Leonard Davis Jr. from KRIV TV. Leonard, please go ahead, sir.
How you doing, Coach? First off, I wanted to introduce myself officially. I'm the new sports producer at Fox 26, and it's truly an honor to meet you. I've been following your career for as long as I could pick up a basketball myself. So I just want to give you your flowers and tell you thank you for all you've done for the game of basketball, especially
Where,
in Houston.
where'd you come from, Lennar?
So I am from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised, and recently did 7 years in Salt Lake City. So I was covering BYU, I was covering Utah, Coach Craig Smith, and BYU is doing really good right now. So getting to know those guys as well. Um, so I'm
Okay.
glad to be able to meet you as well and carry the torch here to Utah, to Houston.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. My question is, uh, we know every season is different. Different players, different messages for each season, different schedule. But when you compare last season up until this point to this season, what are some of the things that, as a natural experienced coach, that you see, as far as the foundation, and then things that that can take you to the next level that were, some of
Yeah.
the shortcomings from last season.
Well, last season didn't have a lot of shortcomings. Um, that was uh, arguably the best team in the country up to the last play of the season. So I wouldn't compare this team to that team at all. I think this team may compare more to some of the other teams. But this team has gotten better in certain areas. I don't think it has a the thing that everything's so fluid. We're still working on, still trying to establish a day-to-day leader. In their own way, Ramon, Milos, Emmanuel, JoJo, they've all they've all shown that, but none of them have done it day to day, where they're absorbing um, one of their teammates' fallacies and saying, that's, that's not our standard. We got to do better. And I've always said that our best teams are always player led, not coach led. So um, just continue to work on that. Last year we played 40 games. We may or may not come close to that this year. We'll just have to see. But we haven't played. We've got 18 conference games, and we have one game for sure in the conference tournament. So right now we only have 19 games left versus the 13 we've played. So we're still searching for some things. Um, at some point you're gonna have to find what you're looking for and get better at it, but um, we're still in the searching phase.
Thank you. We'll go to Chancellor Johnson, please. Chancellor, go ahead, sir.
Hey, Kelvin, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too, Chancellor.
With this week being the team's first true road game, how much of a factor at this point can that be? And what did you like about the way the younger players responded in some of the rowdier environments against tough opponents in some of your neutral site games?
Um, Auburn was more of a road game than some places we play on the road. I mean, there was almost 16,000 Auburn fans there. Um, Arkansas had a great crowd in New Jersey. Tennessee had a great turnout in um, Vegas. So did we. We had a great turnout there too. So, yeah, I mean, we got last year we had 10 of these things. This year we have 9, and you can't prepare somebody for a road game. They just have to go through it, and we'll see how our guys do.
Thank you, Chancellor. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Calvin, when you have a younger team in spots, is this more of a, do you have to do even more teaching in a season like this? And, how do you look at that?
So, yeah, well, there's some of this is hard to explain. And I don't even know if I'm smart enough to even start it. But the best comparison, I guess, would be um, like I watched a session this morning on all our made baskets, the second half against 2 or 3 teams, just to see what we were doing and what we're looking at. And the thing that you notice is J1, where he is, and and he had a money shot, a money move that if you took that away, he knew how to get to his counter. So the game was real simple for him. The game's is not simple for Chris. It can get challenging. Um, his instinct for certain things is not like J1's. But that's very unfair comparison, but that's also gives you a little bit of a deep dive into what we're dealing with from a instinctive um, um, just basic understanding of chasing space. If we get an offensive rebound and the ball goes back out, you can't stand where you are. You've got to go chase space. Chasing space means you got to get to where you are. If you're a 4, you can't stay in the paint. That means now we have 2 because JoJo's going to be somewhere around there. If you catch the ball in the low block, what's your move? We've been working on this stuff since June. You gotta have something you can hang your hat on. What is it you're doing? What is it? What is your money move? So whereas with past teams, never worried about that, because they had one. They'd had one for 3 or 4 years. We're still developing some guys, and it's easy to sit there when you've never played and say, well, why doesn't he have one? Um, because he doesn't. You say, well, why not? That's not the way it works. Some guys' instincts are better than others. Some guys are better facing the basket, even though they may be 6'11". They may be 6'8". So if he's 6'8", he should be on the low block. Says who? What chapter in the book was that one? I didn't read that book. Um, so when you have a player that doesn't have not necessarily a go-to, but it's not as easy for him yet. He's still trying to get there. Um, a lot of your possessions will look good. Some of them maybe not so good because of the experience thing.
Thank you, Chancellor. We'll go to Greg Bailey from KTR KTV. Greg, please go ahead, sir.
Kelvin, good morning. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you.
Just wanted to ask about Mercy Miller, maybe where he's made progress in your eyes and the potential impact that he could have for you in the Big 12 campaign.
Yeah, Mercy has a confidence about him that's real. Um, Obviously, all these guys have strengths and weaknesses. It's easy to tell what Mercy's strengths are. It's not as easy to tell what his weaknesses are because you don't see him every day. But his ability to come in the other night and score was not surprising to our staff. But Mercy's also earned that. Mercy's a very hard worker, great young man. Love coaching him. His defensive instincts, ability to keep the ball in front of him, not allow blow-bys, being able to recognize and anticipate. He's just got to keep working in those areas, and he will.
Thank you, Greg. We'll go back to Joseph Duarte, please. Joseph, go ahead.
Kelvin, if I could go back to the beginning where you mentioned this time of year and which the Velcro sticking and things to sort of start working on. What are the things right now going into conference that you'd like to see that next step from your team?
Yeah, being more connected on defense. One guy, for instance, some pick and roll coverage. One of the things that we talk about is 5 guys have to guard the ball. You're not guarding your man, and we don't have returners at every position like we normally do, and that's it's one of those things that's difficult to do if you haven't done it over and over and over. So now, let's say, for instance, team comes down the floor, they swing it with the DHO, which is a dribble handoff, and then the guy swings it. Now here comes the pick and roll. So they've changed sides of the floor twice, and now they're setting a pick and roll. So now you've got to flow into your responsibility because the pick and roll is not in the middle of the floor, it's in the slot. So it's the outer third, whereas I was just on the ball side. So the ball went from the outer third to the inner third to the outer third on the other side. Now that guy set the screen is short rolling or he's long rolling or he's picking and popping and being able to recognize the flight of the ball, not the catch, on the catch, but as the ball is in flight is where all the connectiveness comes in. You've got to react on the flight of the ball and be in your spot. Um, so we're still not quite there. Another area I think is transition defense, where the ball gets spot, and a lot of this stuff, transition defense is subjective. Just like pick and roll defense has some subjectivity to it, but or some objectivity to it, because if you're the bottom guy on a certain side, then here's your responsibility. If you're the top guy, here's your responsibility. If you're on the single side, here's your responsibility. But what you have to be able to read is whether it's a long roll or a short roll, because your responsibility changes. So now, um, if I work on it in practice, they're going to do it perfect every time because we may move bodies around and change angles and stuff like that, but your only time you're really getting to do it where it's new to you or it's coming at you full speed without somebody blowing the whistle and telling you how to do it is in the game. And some guys learn. The thing I've noticed about all of God's children, they all learn at different rates. And that's what makes them one of God's children.
Thank you. Happy New Year, Kelvin.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go back to Chancellor Johnson, please. Chancellor, go ahead.
Kevin, I don't know. I think Joseph learns a little bit slower than everybody else, but I like that sentiment there.
I'm the one, if anybody's a slow learner right here, Hoss is me.
Yes,
Kelvin,
sir.
God's children, Kelvin. He missed that part.
Yeah. That's a hell of a buffer when you can always go back to that.
Yeah, yes, sir. One of the main conversations in college basketball lately has been some of the in-season additions that we've seen, particularly with guys who maybe a couple years back might not have been eligible. As one of the voices in the sport, and we've seen it even in conference, within conference. So, what are your general thoughts on the trend that we've seen lately and where college basketball may be headed in that direction?
Um, well, I can't keep up with the trends. Um, it might be just me, but I didn't know about that rule. Um, and I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes from. Don't complain. Don't confuse complaining with um, explanations. You know, I say kudos to Scott, Drew, and Baylor for knowing about it. Um, but but if you have a need at a certain position, then you're probably going to be looking for it more so than a coach or a program that, number one, they may not have a scholarship. So why would you even be worrying about it? You don't have a scholarship, there's no need. Or um, you're healthy, knock on wood, at that position, you're probably not looking for it either. But guys has had uh, position um, depletion because of an injury or whatever it is, but you need that position and you start asking around and you find out about it. I didn't know about it, but then again, I never asked either, and nobody ever told me. But Scott did. And you know what? Good for Scott. Um, um, if the rule is there, then you should be able to do it. But if the rule is there, then let's find a way for everybody to know about it. Um, it doesn't affect me one way or the other, whether it's a good rule or a bad rule. Look, man, we're paying these guys more money than their parents are going to make in a lifetime, and you're asking us whether we're worried about an eligibility rule at um, mid semester or in between the two semesters. You know, there's no such thing as a surprise anymore.
Thank you, Chancellor. We'll go back to Leonard Davis Jr., please. Leonard, please go ahead, sir.
Hey, Coach. I don't know if you caught the highlights to the Pistons Lakers game last night, but for a Cougar alum, Marcus Sasser had uh, 19 points in 24 minutes. Obviously, I'm from Detroit, so I watched the game, but for someone who know him very well, from your perspective, what is it about him that makes him so special as he continued to grow early in his NBA career? As he continued to take advantage of opportunities like that.
I was just texting Marcus, well, I don't know, week, 10 days, right before Christmas. It was right before Christmas. But He's had a tough summer and a tough start first few months because of an injury. And then his team caught fire. I mean, the Pistons are playing. Who won last night?
The Pistons won 128-106.
Yeah. So when Marcus has had his opportunities, he's always played well. But um, JB Bickerstaff, who's a good friend of mine, we worked together for 3 years with the Rockets. He's got a good thing going there. He's got his starting five, then he's got a guy like Ivy that comes off the bench, and they drafted a kid from Tennessee. So, Marcus that hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but the thing that allows him to do what he does when he does get his opportunity is Marcus lives a very simple life. He's not extravagant. He's very mature. He keeps his cards close to his vest. Um, and when his opportunities come, he's always ready because he puts his work in. Everywhere I go in the summer, when I'm out, I'll run into NBA scouts. And when I see all those Pistons guys, I was Trajan Langdon. I can't remember where I was, and Trajan came and stood beside me. Um, I don't remember, somewhere this summer, and we were just talking. And all he wanted to do was talk about Marcus Sasser, how much they love him. And I said, that's good to hear, but it's no surprise. I was with that kid for 4 years, and um, I can count his days where he wasn't super connected, probably on one hand. His maturity and passion for basketball and the way he treats people is he's like a magnet. He draws people to him because of his personality, but he's quiet, doesn't say a whole lot, but he's dependable. He's like old man River. I have a lot of respect for old Marcus.
Thank you, Leonard. We'll go to Andy Yanez, please. Andy, please go ahead.
Good morning, Kelvin. Happy New Year's. Hope you're doing good.
Thank you, Andy. Same to you, brother.
Appreciate it. I wanted to ask you about Kingston Flemings and what you've seen from him during non-conference, specifically about his playmaking and his ability to take care of the ball while creating for others in non-conference.
Yeah, so when he got here, he wasn't taking care of nothing. He's throwing that thing around like he was a circus act. Um, so on Thursdays in the summer, we have this, we call it No Turnover Thursday, and we give you three turnovers. I mean, you're allowed to have three before anything happens. Um, uh, so so he got to his quota real quick the first couple of times we did it. So on the fourth one, you have to run a 30. On the fifth one, you got to run another 30. And on the sixth one, you got to shuttle. So needless to say, Kingston was the most in shape of all the guards because he had to run the gamut the first two or three times we did it. Then he started realizing that I don't have to try to hit a home run on every play. You know, a single is a completed pass. A home run is threading a needle. Um, but he's a natural playmaker. He's naturally unselfish. So passing comes easy to him. The thing that drew me to Kingston was, as I was recruiting him when he was a lot younger, was his vision and how he moved the ball. The scoring has come along, but his vision, his unselfishness, the way he sees the game. He throws a lot of uh, ooh passes, but he also has learned to be more Tom Brady-ish versus Patrick Mahomes. So you can move the ball down the field throwing 40 yards, and you can move the ball down the field throwing 2 yards. Now you may have to have a little more yak with the ladder, but you still get there the same way. So he's learned that simple sometimes is better.
Thank you, Kelvin.
Thank you,
You're
Andy.
welcome.
We'll go back to Greg Bailey, please. Greg, please go ahead.
Hey, Kelvin, I'm just following up on the question about who's eligible, et cetera. Do you understand today where those answers come from in terms of the governing body, and where should those answers come from in terms of the modern landscape we live in today?
Well, we all have we all have a filter on our campus. It's called our compliance office. So for me, there's two ways to get information. One is the campus compliance, because they're tied into rules and regulations and policies. Um, and the second one is through the conference. We have a assistant commissioner that's in charge of men's basketball. So he may relay information to us, but we're all information dependent. We're not plugged into the decisions. We're not plugged into the policies. Now, there's the issues regarding the game itself. Just like I've been a proponent for many years of in the last 2 minutes moving the ball up, but that's a different category. Those are rules. Um, Policy and bylaws and laws and the um, all the new stuff. That comes from a different cabinet, different committee. Um, I don't know. I don't know what the disconnect is between getting that information to the coaches. If you read the responses, whether it's Dan or at UConn or Tom, Mark, Cal, all those guys. That's the only thing. I don't think we're not bitching or complaining. We're asking, and what is how we just like to know about it, um, in case there was. But if you're not going to ask the question, you may not know about the policy. Um, and that's where Scott and his staff was ahead, but he had a need, of course, and good for him. But I don't, the rule's the rule. I'm not interested in giving whether it's a good rule or bad rule. It's a rule, it's a rule. Move on from that. Um, I think we'd all like to have a little bit better um, um, road to uh, information sharing, um, so we can see. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Thank you, Greg. We'll get time for a couple more questions. We'll go back to Joseph Duarte for the first one. Joseph, please go ahead.
Kelvin, last night on the coaches show, you had mentioned Emmanuel and him dealing with that finger. Did that happen in the game or was that in practice?
That day, shoot around.
Okay, that day shoot around. And any
Yeah.
update how going through that? If you talk to John in terms of, is it just is it anything more to it, or is that just
Yeah.
just
It's one of those things that it's you know these guys. You ever seen former players? You ever seen their fingers?
yes,
You ever seen how there's one of my really good friends is Lionel Hollins. His little finger on both hands are both east and west. They both stick out sideways. That's because how many times he's caught balls over the decades and jammed his finger. That's what he did. He jammed his finger, and I could tell during the game he kept playing with it, messing with it. So it was kind of aggravating for him. It's like JoJo kept telling me about his chest. But when you lose 16, 17, 18 pounds over 3 or 4 days and you're not practicing, the first time you go out there and you have all that adrenaline and all that emotion, your body feels different. So we had some distractions the other night that hopefully we get resolved here this week before we play Saturday.
are you anticipating Khalifa trying to give it a go Saturday?
Yeah, so we didn't practice yesterday because it was a scheduled mandatory day off. We schedule those before the season starts. We have to take them where we can because we have to give them a day off every week. Um, So when you play on Saturday, the day off is always on Sunday. But when you play on Monday, the day off has to be on Tuesday. So now we have Wednesday, Thursday, leave Friday, play Saturday. Uh, Khalifa, Khalifa spent the day rehabbing, doing stuff with John, and I had to go out recruiting in around 11:30. So when I got back, he was down on the treadmill, and he looked good, looked fine. Um, I anticipate him playing, and we'll give him as much work as he can handle this week to get him ready.